Hi there, welcome to Flowing in Dreams. Today we're going to be doing a Buy This, Not That highlighter edition. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. I realized as I was going through all of the Buy This, Not That series that I've done so far, I haven't really talked about highlighter, and I think that's because highlighter isn't much top of mind. I think we're all using it. But highlighter isn't getting the hype that it used to around like 2015, 2016, when these really impressive, super chunky highlights that you could see from space were all the hype. And today I wanted to do a Buy This, Not That highlighter edition to share with you some favorites and things to look out for if you are looking to buy a new highlighter. So I'm going to start with the don't buy these things, and then we're going to end the video on a positive note with the things that I do recommend you look into. Now, you do need to take this with a huge grain of salt because all of these products are from my personal makeup collection, and there's something about these that I like. In all of these products, there isn't a single product here that I dislike. I like all of these. They have different purposes in my makeup collection. I wear them at different times for different reasons. So none of these are bad products. I just want to preface by saying that because sometimes people think that the minute you talk negatively about a product, you do not like it, or you may even feel as strongly as hating that product. But please know that that's not the case. These have all stood the test of time. I've had some of these in my makeup collection for years, but here's why I would not recommend them if you were looking into buying a new highlighter. So first up, I would not recommend getting the Rare Beauty highlighters. I have mine in Mesmerize. There's nothing wrong with this shade. There is nothing wrong with this formula, but this is just too big. You can nowadays buy a lot of sets from Rare Beauty where they do the mini ones. I know that a lot of blush shades actually come in a little minis as well. Those are far better in terms of like the longevity of this product. This is a liquid product. It's going to expire at some point, and there is just too much in here for me to ever be able to use it up. I believe this comes, it's 15 milliliters of product, and this is so intense. I mean, I could rub my face with this stuff on a daily basis, and only if I did that, I would probably use it up within a year. I don't know what the shelf life of this is supposed to be. I don't think it really says here on the bottle. It may have said it on the box, but I don't remember what that was. With makeup though, you do need to sort of use your senses. There isn't an expiration date for these things. A lot of people think that the little container on the back is the expiration date. It's not. It's just an indication for how long the manufacturer guarantees the best quality makeup. But it's not an expiration date. It's not that if things have been open for 12 months, you need to chuck it away. But that's the moment where you need to start being careful. Is it still the same formula? Does it still swatch the same? Does it still smell the same? Doesn't it have like funky green things growing from the product? Those are all questions you need to ask yourself. But with products like this, there's just way too much. And I think if they had made this half the size, I think people would still be willing to pay the price point that this goes for because it is an incredibly good product. It's just that you get so much that unless you feel you can commit to daily use of this product over 2 to 5 years, that you're even going to see a dent in a product like this. So that's why it's a little bit too pigmented and you get so much product that I'm like, maybe invest your money elsewhere. In fact, I have a Kiko liquid highlighter nowadays that does the same thing this does. And just because it's smaller and easier to handle, I tend to reach for that over this one. Another thing you have to be very careful with is the really pretty reflective highlights that are like marketed as duochromes or holographic or possibly even multichromes. And I have this as sort of like a placeholder. I used to have the entire collection of these Kaleidos highlighters back in the day. I tried them all. The only one that I felt was truly unique and that didn't look weird in day-to-day life on me was Mars Melter. So again, I like this, but this is the original Mars Melter. They've changed the formula, they've changed the shade of this. So if you were to buy this now, it's gonna look different. And the reason why I would not recommend buying products like this is, again, similar to the Rare Beauty product, unless you know you're going to wear a blue highlighter every single day of your life, or a green one, or a purple one. you probably won't be getting the use out of products like this that really warrant that price point. And the reason why I feel it's so important to look for what the shades will do for you, I find that especially nowadays with these more special highlighters, I can really struggle with it like just being too obvious on my cheeks. I like it when my blush, bronzer, and highlighter blend together into this one seamless cheek look. I don't want there to be like a stripe of highlighter coming down my face. And with these kind of products, I feel it's very obvious that you're wearing a separate highlighter. So that's just coming down to preference really for me. And with these, I find that there's sometimes a very obvious base layer to it, so that when your face is like not like catching the light, you end up with this dark stripe, and that's never a good look. Another thing you want to be careful with, so something I would not recommend, is something like the Catrice More Than Glow highlighters. I don't know if they still do these, but these were intense. This is sort of that 2016 can be seen from space kind of highlighter. And because these are often thicker formulas, I feel that highlighter has come a long way in like the past almost 10 years. You don't need something that feels this heavy when you touch it. So when you swatch these, they feel very, very thick. And again, that has the same issue as a lot of the duochrome and multichrome highlighters, is that it can be very obvious on the cheeks. Because the formula is just a little heavier, these are more prone to leaving like a dark cast as well, like with the duochrome highlighters. I love this product. It's beautiful. If I want to go still for that super intense 2016 highlighter look, I still have it in my collection, and I reach for this. And you can see this had like a flower embossing in it. You can see I've used this product, and I've used it quite a bit. But I have it in a shade that works for me. And this is beautiful, but I think especially if you have any sort of texture on your cheeks, that highlighters that are a little bit heavier and a little bit more like boom kapow in your face can accentuate that texture as well. So that may be something you want to stay away from. Another thing you may want to stay away from is something that is super subtle. Again, I like a subtle highlighter from time to time where it looks more like a low light kind of look rather than something that's like super boom kapow in your face. But if you get these in the wrong shade, and especially if you have a deeper skin tone, these can look incredibly ashy on you. The reason why they work for me is because I'm incredibly pale. So that's why I like a shade like this. This is the Glow Lover Oil Infused from Catrice, long since discontinued. And this is beautiful. It has this subtle like pinky lavender hint to it. It has a very subtle sheen. If you swatch this, and especially in a full-on finger swatch, it looks like there isn't even a highlighter going on. It just looks like powder almost. So this does have a little bit of a base, and that's what can make it look a little bit gray, especially if you have a deeper skin tone. So that's why I wouldn't recommend looking into these more subtle, more sort of satin highlighters. That's what I would like classify them as. There are some that do a really wonderful job, but especially something like this, if you don't have a cool undertone, this is not going to show up on you the right way. And finally, something that I don't think a lot of people want is glitter in their highlighters. Be careful with glitter in your highlighter, especially if you work in an environment that has fluorescent lighting like I do. It can look very obvious that there are obvious sparkles in it. I like this glitter baked highlighter from Kiko a lot. It actually isn't as glittery as you might expect. It is, again, a little bit more of like a subtle highlighter, and then it just has heaps of sparkle. I was afraid that maybe the sparkly bit was like an overspray with this one, but it isn't. It's actually like infused with all of these glitters. So there is glitter in every single time you use this. But I feel with this one, once I put it on my face, there isn't obvious sparkle. I like a little bit of more obvious sparkle, especially in the wintertime when there's more low light settings that I'm like being a part of. Then highlighters like this can be really beautiful, because if you're like in a candlelit situation, then those little sparkles can really sort of shine. And that can be pretty, but glitter, especially if you're in an environment with lots of sunshine, you're just gonna look like the Tin Man, you're gonna reflect like a disco ball, and it's not a good look. So try to be very careful with glitter-based highlighters. I have a couple of them in my makeup collection because I do like them from time to time, but they are for very specific times of year for me. So that brings me to my top 5. What are things that I do recommend you get? So pretty much all of these are like the opposite of the things that I was showing you just now. I was mentioning how the Rare Beauty gives you loads of product and it's super pigmented. So I would prefer going for something like the RMS Living Luminizer. This again gives you a good amount of product. I've had this for years and it's in rotation all the time. And this looks wonderful. It's more glass-like. It doesn't have a lot of pigment, even though the brand, ever since, like, this product is pretty popular in the world of makeup. So it does come in different shades for different undertones, but this is essentially clear. If you love that sort of glass-like skin look, the RMS Beauty Living Luminizer is one of the best products on the planet to do that. It's my go-to when it comes to a cream highlighter. This is also really beautiful if you're a very minimal makeup wearer and you don't wear a full face of makeup with foundation and concealer and powder like I'm wearing today. This is really beautiful as just a sheen on your cheeks, even in like day-to-day life. It can also be really pretty on your collarbones, or for instance, if you're like going to the pool and you want that wet look, but you don't want to go into the pool, then products like this can work really, really well. So this is a lot more versatile than you might actually think. And it's giving highlighter, but it's quite subtle, and I like that. So I showed you the Mars Melter from Kaleidos as like a duochrome, multi-chrome sort of stand-in. There is one that's been released that I feel doesn't do all of the bad things that I mentioned about a duochrome highlighter. So this isn't obvious on the skin. It doesn't have a weird reflect where people in your real life are gonna go like, wait, are you wearing blue highlighter on your face? It's because it's just that subtle. And it's the Space Glam Holo highlighter from Catrice. This is really beautiful. It's a multi-chrome highlighter from the drugstore. This has blue, no, not blue. It's got like pink, lavender, green sort of flips to it. And then a little bit of like a peachy pink sort of golden sheen. It's really, really pretty. It reflects so beautifully. You can see I've used this so much already. And with a lot of these products, since they are so intensely pigmented usually, I tend to wear them more so as eyeshadow than I do as highlighter, because on this area of my face, it's just too heavy and it looks too obvious. But with this one, I don't have that issue. I don't really know whether this is still available though, so that's a bit of a shame. But yeah, this Space Glam highlighter from Catrice I think is excellent. It has the thin formula that I was missing with a lot of the duochrome and multi-chrome highlighters that I've tested out in the past couple of years. I also mentioned subtle highlighters. Now, a more subtle highlighter that does have a bit of sheen, but it's more like that satin, barely there kind of look, is this one from Kiko. You can see I've got a huge dent in this. It's a favorite for a reason. This is the Glow Fusion highlighter from Kiko Milano. This also comes in different shades. This is in shade 01. And it's this really beautiful sort of like subtle sheen on the lid. This isn't super powdery. There is a bit of a base to it, but I believe because this comes in different shades, you can match this to your skin tone a little bit more easily. And it gives this like wash of something. So again, great in the winter time, I find. It's not too obviously glittery or anything like that, and this is just a beautiful product. I was talking about these like obvious highlighters, things that will give you a lot of impact on your skin, and that's the last two recommendations that I have for you. This is a newer product from Fenty Beauty. This came out in the last year or so, and this is the Demi Glow Highlighter in Pretty Pearls. This is in between a very subtle highlighter and a more metallic thing, and it sort of takes the best of both worlds. It has a beautiful sheen on the skin. It has the blendability of the more subtle highlighters that I love so much, but it still has the impact of something much more intense. This is buttery smooth, easy to blend. You're wearing highlight. You can see there's a highlighter, but it still blends in beautifully with the rest of your face. And the final highlighter I have for you is this MAC highlighter. This is an extra dimension highlighter in the shade Double Gleam. I've had this for a few years. Again, you can see that I've used it quite a bit right there in the middle. I go back to this every winter. This is a really good, more intense highlighter for fair skin. And like with some of the more intense highlighters that I was sharing, like the Catrice, where it can sort of lay onto the skin a little bit, it's a little bit heavier. This gives you that really intense shine, but without it looking super obvious. There's something about the extra dimension formula that makes it really, really easy to use. And even though this is an older product, like this has been in the MAC line for I think the past like 10 years or so, but it still feels very up to date and it still works in 2025. So formula wise, I think this is a lovely product and I really need to go back to this again and use it more often. And those were the highlighters that I think maybe stay away from these, yes, buy these. So I tried to sort of like mix and match it based on like what I didn't like in some and then giving you like a replacement for it, so that hopefully if you were looking for a new highlighter that you can find something that you like. Like I said, highlighter is currently not on everyone's mind. Something is telling me that it's making a comeback. I'm seeing slowly but surely we're getting more highlighter like releases again from different brands, and yeah, I'm here for it because I like a bit of highlight. I definitely do like a bit of highlight, and I don't always mind it being obvious, but that's why I have so many different things, because I feel like especially with highlighter, the formula makes or breaks the product a lot of the times, and it's gonna give a different effect based on what you're looking for. So do you want something super obvious and you want to just like look like you can see your highlighter from space? There are options like that, or there are more like glass, wet-like sheen kind of things and everything in between. And that's one of the reasons why I do still really enjoy highlighters. So thanks so much for being here today. Thumbs it up if you liked it. Let me know in a comment down below what your favorite highlighter is. I would love to know. And then I really am looking forward to see you again really soon in a new video, because I do post on here 4 times a week. So I hope you like to stay tuned for more, and then I hope to see you then. Bye-bye.